All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the riskiest diplomatic events in recent memory, the Alaska Summit. We're talking about a peace conference on American soil while a war is actively being fought. It's a wild setup. And this gets to the heart of it. I know it sounds completely paradoxical, right? But could a meeting designed to create peace actually kick off a nuclear war by accident? We've managed to get a look at the official risk briefing for the summit, and honestly, it shows just how close to the edge this whole thing really is. So what is it that makes this summit so uniquely dangerous? Well, it's not just that the stakes are high, it's the whole situation. You have peace talks happening in a NATO country during a hot war with a nuclear power. I mean, the layers of complexity here, they're just off the charts. This internal assessment lays it all out. And we're not just talking about the risk of talks falling apart. No, we're looking at the potential for a catastrophic mistake kicked off by an automated system or mass panic because of false reports about body doubles. And then you've got the very real chance of sabotage from allies who don't want this to succeed. Each one of these things makes the others even worse. And look, the briefing itself sums it up in these really stark terms. They call it a high-stakes gamble with existential risks. That's not me saying that, that's the organizers themselves. They know this isn't just another meeting. It's a roll of the dice where the consequences could be, well, everything. Okay, so let's zero in on that first risk factor on the chart, that catastrophic miscalculation one. Because to really get why this is so terrifying, you have to understand this piece of Cold War tech that is very much still in play. Russia's automated nuclear response system, better known as the Dead Hand. Its official name is the Perimeter System, but everyone knows it by its much more fitting nickname, the Dead Hand. You can think of it as a fail-deadly doomsday machine. Its entire purpose is to launch a massive nuclear counterattack if it thinks Russia's leaders have been taken out of the picture. So how does this thing actually work? Well, first, it has to detect the seismic and radiation signs of a nuclear blast and lose contact with the top leadership. If that happens, it goes into autonomous mode. It starts checking for signs of life at key command posts. If it gets radio silence, it assumes the worst. And then it gives the go-ahead to launch, completely on its own. The human is literally taken out of the loop right at the moment it matters most. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds absolutely insane, right? But there is a logic to it, a really chilling logic. It's a core idea in nuclear strategy called second strike capability. The theory goes that if your enemy knows for a fact that you can hit them back no matter what, even if they wipe out your entire government in a first attack, then they'll never risk attacking in the first place. It's a guarantee of mutual destruction, meant to keep the peace. But here's the thing. That cold, hard, automated logic, it's about to slam right into the messy, chaotic, and totally unpredictable world of human beings, especially at a summit like this one. Which leads us to this really strange, almost unbelievable problem that the risk briefing brings up. When you have an automated system ready to fire based on the death of a leader, what on earth happens if you can't be sure who was just attacked? So get this, the briefing specifically points to the reported use of body doubles for Vladimir Putin as a serious security risk. Imagine an attack on a double. It could easily be misreported as a successful hit on the real leader. In all the chaos and tension, that kind of bad information could spark absolute panic. And in the worst case, it could be the very thing that gives a system like the Dead Hand a false signal to act. And this, right here, is the fundamental clash at the heart of the summit. The goal on the surface is all about de-escalation, building trust, finding peace, but the reality underneath is just chaos. It's an environment of extreme tension with risks of sabotage and political backlash, making it the perfect breeding ground for a terrible, terrible mistake. And remember, this summit isn't happening in a vacuum. To really get a handle on the danger here, we have to look at how the entire global nuclear picture has been shifting, making right now a more dangerous time than we've seen in decades. Not long ago, there was a huge leak. We're talking 2 million leaked Russian military and intelligence files. And what they revealed were detailed plans for nuclear expansion and, maybe most importantly, a much lower bar for when Russia might use smaller tactical nukes. The old rulebook is clearly being rewritten. You can just see this pattern building over the past year. It starts with the U.S. moving its nuclear subs, which immediately gets a sharp warning from Russia. Then comes that massive document leak, which seems to confirm a more aggressive Russian strategy. And then, a U.S. commission puts out this report basically screaming that America isn't ready for this new reality. Every single step shows those old Cold War guardrails are just disappearing. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still safeguards. Things like the two-person rule, where you need two different people to confirm a launch order, or permissive action links, PALs, which are basically complex security codes on the weapons themselves. They're still there. But here's the catch. They were all designed for a different world, and now they're under pressure in ways no one ever expected. So what does this all boil down to? It's this deeply unsettling paradox. The very systems that were built to keep us safe, the ones designed to prevent a nuclear war, could, under all the immense pressure of this summit, become the very thing that accidentally starts one. Look, I know this all sounds like something straight out of a movie, like Dr. Strangelove, but here's the crazy thing. As The New Yorker once wrote after looking at declassified files, almost everything in Dr. Strangelove was true. This logic of doomsday machines and failed deadly systems, it was real then, and it's still real now. So when we break down the risks here, you see this terrifying combination. The risk from an automated system going wrong, well, the severity is just catastrophic, even if the odds are lower. Then you have human error, where the odds are higher and the severity is still massive. And finally, political fallout, which is highly likely to happen. At this summit, you have all three of these risks stacked right on top of each other. And all of this leaves us with one final, deeply troubling question. In a world of automated warfare, of shadowy decision-making, and immense political chaos, who or what is actually in control?